So whenever I'm on a call with a prospect, and this just happened yesterday, all right, and they tell me that they're getting low quality leads from Meta ads or unqualified people, I already know exactly what's going wrong, okay? And that's why I'm making this video for you right now. This is exactly how you can get only high quality leads from Meta while filtering out every single unqualified buyer so you don't waste your time. All right. So my name is Ike. I run a marketing agency called Tiger Solutions. We've done multiple six figures in high ticket sales. All right. Hundreds and hundreds of qualified book calls. This is our exact process. All right. And as you can see, the Miro board is pretty lean. I just wanted to give you as much actual advice as possible so you can start using this today without adding any fluff to make this video long for no reason. And this is exactly how you can get high quality leads in your funnel. So we have two parts to this. Okay. Both are equally important. We have the front end. Okay. So everything before the call is actually booked. Right. And then we have the back end, everything that happens after somebody books a call. Okay, so let's start with front end. And when it comes to front end, we are talking about ads, we're talking about the landing pages, the VSLs, all of that stuff. And that part comes down to three main pillars. Okay, one is the environment and the character. Two is the copy and the message, so the actual words that you use in your marketing. And then three is your pixel conditioning. All right, we have to use all of these three things right here to attract our ICP, attract only high quality people. So let's start with the first point, which is the environment and the character in the actual ads. Okay, so again, we're trying to attract high quality leads and different specific backgrounds or scenes or whatever it might be. Those essentially attract different types of people. So I have three examples right here to show you what I mean by environment. Okay, one is a real estate syndication offer. The second one is a trading education offer. And then the third one is a woman's sales training offer. And these examples are really going to drive it home. Okay, so before we get into that, here are some questions that I always ask myself, which is as an example, what exactly is the background or the scene? Okay, what specific elements are in that scene? And if I muted this video, would I understand what they do? Or at least remotely? Okay, so let's take a look at some of this stuff right here. And also like the character, the visuals go into the environment as well. So for example, how does the person talking actually look? All right, what clothes are they wearing? Are they holding something in their hands? Okay, so some of the questions that we can take a look at. So let's start with this real estate syndication offer.
Guess who owns these apartment buildings? 98% of the time, it's not billionaires. It's a bunch of everyday people who pool their money together. It's called a real estate syndication.
Or this one as well.
Hey, if you're a financial professional and you sell IUL, let me show.
Look at what they're wearing. Look at like this guy, for example, he's in front of his real estate.
And they buy huge apartment complexes.
He's showing real estate. He's wearing a suit. Or this guy as well, he's sitting in his leather chair. Okay, he's very like serious, which is, it screams real estate. Okay, that's my point. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So they're trying to essentially raise money, all right? Imagine if they were sitting in a Lamborghini, like with their heads to the side so they can see the Lamborghini badge on their seats with a date just on their wrist, right? Filming that on an iPhone, talking about some stuff. Like nobody would trust them. They would think, okay, are they like trying to sell me a bullshit course, right? Instead, when they see this guy right here, this evokes trust, all right? Just like in terms of the visuals and the background, or this as well. Okay, so yeah, this is just one example. Another one is, for example, a trading education offer. Look at this stuff right here. I could mute this video. And let it run in the background, and you would know immediately what this is about or what he does or what it is. Okay, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. If a trader sees this right here, they're gonna stop and they're gonna watch that. Okay, and that's how we can use the visuals and the environment and the scene to essentially attract higher quality leads. Okay, or another example right here for a woman's sales training offer. Look at what she's wearing. Look at what she has in her hands all the time.
It's funny because the top New Year's resolution, after losing weight,
matcha, whatever this is, or like here as well, like let's look at this.
This one's for the nurse that's working back-to-back shifts, charting till midnight and pouring.
Again, this is on purpose, right? Because it attracts the right type of like the young women, right? Or in this case, like I just talked about that, right? Like imagine if this guy from the real estate syndication offer would be in a car with his iPhone filming the Lamborghini badge, right? It doesn't work for this niche. But if we look at the women's sales training niche, okay, the women that are in the space, they obviously like are more reactive to this stuff right here. Okay, I wouldn't lead with it, but it's like just in the background. They're more reactive to this stuff because obviously they're trying to make money, they're trying to change their lives, they're trying to get to the situation where the person talking is, which is like in a cool car with a matcha, whatever this is in their hand in their hands, like the girl boss vibe, you know what I mean? It just attracts that type of person. Or just look at the third example right here. Just look at all of these images right here that are actually attracting the right type of customer, right?
Tell me why you're still commuting to an office when women are closing deals in pajamas.
Like looking at all of these pictures right here, who is this going to attract? A 55-year-old in Ohio? No. This is going to attract young women who are ambitious or whatever it might be. Okay, this is how you can use your environment and the scene to essentially attract your ideal customer. All right, so these are just some examples right here in terms of the visuals. And now when we look at the character, you also have to account for, which is also equally important as the visuals, which is tonality. How do they articulate themselves? What's the tone? How confident do they sound? Okay, how comfortable are they on camera? For example, if you want to trust somebody, okay, and you want to invest like tens of thousands of dollars with a real estate syndication, you want to know that essentially your company that you're investing in, they know what they do, right? And for that, you have to be comfortable on camera. You have to be, essentially, you have to evoke trust. You have to show your tonality must be good. You have to articulate yourself clearly. And that's what this guy, for example, does.
Properly structure a max funded IUL to help your clients optimize their assets, minimize taxes, and your practice can go absolutely.
Or as well, like this guy right
industry.
here.
And if you can find a good operator to buy an apartment complex with, you can make 15, 20.
They sound super trustworthy. They are articulating themselves very clearly, which is awesome for this niche right here. In comparison to that, let's look at the women's sales training niche. This has to be more motivational, right? If we compare the ICPs of these two niches right here, this has to be more like motivational, more like this girl boss vibe, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what she does. Look at this stuff right here.
Is to make more money. And it's funny because the top New Year's resolution, after losing weight, is to make more money. And everybody wants to look hotter and have a fat bank account. They go hand in hand, but no one actually does anything about it. Everybody.
If you want to study tonality, just look at Shelby Sepp. She's doing an amazing job in terms of like tonality and all of that stuff. She knows how to talk and how to attract her ideal customer, okay? Not in terms of what exact words she uses in terms of copy, because we're going to get there in the next part right here. Just the way she articulates herself, the tonality, and how the way she changes her tonality while she's reading off the script.
It's funny because the top New Year's resolution, after losing weight, is to make more money. And
So yeah, your tonality plays a very important role as well if you're trying to attract high quality customers. All right, and that's essentially the first point that I wanted to show you right here. Environment and character have to be on point, the tonality and the visual. So once you have that part down, the visuals and the tonality and all of that formal stuff, you need to understand exactly how to write your copy and what exactly to say in your ads in order to attract your ideal customer, okay, or high quality leads, and essentially repel all unqualified leads. All right. If you don't understand this, you are always going to struggle. Okay. So this is very important because nowadays the messaging or the words that you use in your ads, okay, that has become the new targeting. All right. Nowadays, what we like to do is to literally run our ads completely broad. All right, with only like the age adjusted, and that's it, right? No keywords, no nothing. Okay, we really just have a broad audience, right? In the US and Canada, for example, and let the messaging and the words in the copy do the job of attracting the right person or getting our ads in front of the right customers. So let me show you exactly how you can do that. There are two things that I have right here and also an example ad script, actually two, that I wanted to show you as well. All right, so let's first start with awareness levels, okay? Who are you actually talking to before you even start writing out the ads? This is Eugene Schwartz's framework, and there are essentially three types of customers that you can, or three types of people that you can target through cold traffic, which is 1, solution-aware people, 2, problem-aware people, and then 3, unaware people. Okay, this plays a huge role in terms of who you're gonna reach. Okay, if you don't understand this, you're not gonna reach your ideal customer. Okay, you're not gonna attract higher quality people. You have to understand this because this is the backbone of everything. Okay, unaware people are people who don't even realize that they have a problem. Okay, which means there are it doesn't matter what kind of marketing you do, you are never gonna convert them. All right, and they make up the biggest chunk of the market, as you can see right here. So you don't want to target them, simply said, right? The second type of customer is problem-aware people. All right, problem-aware means that they are aware that they have that problem, all right, but they're skeptical about the solution that you're providing to fix that problem. Pretty simple, right? I call it solution skeptical to make it easier to understand. And then that's problem aware. And solution aware means that they know they have the problem, all right? They know about the solution that you're providing them with, but they're not sure whether to get that solution from you or your competitors, somebody else. Okay, so they already know they have a problem, and they're even sold on the solution that you're providing. They're not sold on you as the company to provide that solution. All right, actively searching. This is what it explains solution aware. They're actively searching for your solution. They are not sure where to get it. All right, let's simply put. And they make up the smallest, by far smallest chunk of the market. It doesn't even fit in here. Okay, if this whole triangle represents the whole market, they make up the smallest chunk of the market. Now, what do you want to do when you're starting to run ads on Meta? all right? You want to start by targeting these people right here. You first want to go after the people who are solution aware. And once you went through that market, okay, once you went through this tiny chunk of the market, then you branch out to problem aware leads, okay? Then you are trying to essentially convert solution skeptical people. Why? Because it is easier to sell somebody who's already sold on your solution, all right? It is easier to sell somebody who's already sold on your solution, because if somebody's only problem aware, again, they're not sold on your solution yet. So you don't only have to sell them on the idea that you are the person or the company to provide that solution, you even have to first of all convince them that your solution is the best out of all of the other solutions that they have, essentially, right? It's a more difficult sale. It is not impossible, it just makes it more difficult, right? That's why you first want to start by essentially going through the solution aware market. And once you're all the way through that market and you have essentially targeted every single person that's in the market, which means you could be at, like, let's say multiple 6 figures a month, then you can start targeting problem aware people as well. All right. So I have some real world examples right here so you can understand what this essentially means for your specific offer, whatever niche or market you're in. Okay. So let's look at, for example, a SaaS info product offer or a SaaS consulting offer. All right. In this case, the problem, obviously there are multiple ways to interpret it. Okay. I'm just giving you one way. Okay. An idea so you can understand how you can do that for yourself. In this case, a problem aware lead could be somebody who has the problem of needing to make more money, right? But they're not sold on your solution yet, which is building a SaaS business to make more money. Again, I'm just giving you an example right here. All right. So in this case, if you want to convert a problem aware lead or prospect, you not only have to sell them on the idea that you're the best person to learn from, all right, to build a SaaS product, you also have to sell them on the idea that SaaS is better than all of the other business models that they can use to fix their problem, which is essentially making more money, right? So there are multiple solutions of fixing the problem of making more money, which is multiple business models, and you have to sell them on SaaS being the best one out of all of them, and then you have to sell them that you're the right person to teach them SaaS. A more difficult sale than to just go for somebody who's already solution aware. So they know they have the problem of they need to make more money. They know that that SaaS is the best solution, right? Now you're essentially just selling them on you as the best person to learn from, or to learn from to build a successful SaaS business. Way easier sell. Okay, way easier sell, and that's why you have to start by targeting these people and then going after the next markets. Unaware people you never want to target. So in this case, unaware people would be people who don't even realize that they have a problem of they need to make more money. They're never going to convert. Okay, so don't waste your time. All right, so yeah, this is exactly how you can figure out who to target. This is very important. If you understand this, all of the other stuff is going to be way easier for you. All right, so now obviously scripting out the ads. I'm going to make a separate video on this because with Andromeda, all right, there is a bunch of stuff that goes into this in terms of, like, for example, there are multiple types of customers or types of buckets of people you can actually target within the solution aware bucket, essentially. Okay, so in this case, for example, it could be somebody who already has a SaaS business, but they're struggling to market the app or the SaaS business or whatever. Okay, that's one type of customer. Another one could be somebody who already has a SaaS business, but they're already getting downloads. They're just struggling to turn those downloads into paying customers. That's a second bucket that you can go for. The third bucket is they're already sold on the idea that they have to start a SaaS business. They have a SaaS idea, but they can't build out the SaaS. That's a third type of person that you can go for. Okay, there are multiple buckets of people that you can go for with the ads, and that's what I'm going to cover in another video. But for now, just to understand the concept, you probably already have a few ideas of what types of buckets or customers you can actually target for your specific offer or niche. Okay, and for those, to understand this concept, okay, for those you have to, with your messaging, essentially with the words you use in your copy, you have to specifically describe your ICP's situation. Okay, each and every individual ad has to be targeted towards an individual types of customer that I just explained. Okay, so for example, let's talk about somebody who already has a SaaS business, right? I have an example ad script right here. They have a SaaS business. Their marketing is dialed in, but they're struggling to convert downloads into sales. Okay, that's what they're struggling with, and that's what this ad essentially is targeted towards. Okay, look at the words right here. So also look at the vocabulary right here that I'm going to go into in a sec right here. So you're getting a few thousand installs every month. The app is working, but barely anyone is converting to paid subscribers. All right, so first off, congrats, you're in a very good position right now, literally sitting on a gold mine. You've validated the idea, the marketing is working, people are downloading your app. The only bottleneck is monetization. Okay, turning those downloads into actual revenue. That means a small tweak to your paywall placement, pricing, free trial, etc. could literally 5x your revenue overnight. Maybe your paywall shows up too early and scares people off. Maybe your pricing is off, too high, too low, or is structured wrong. Or maybe you're giving away too much for free, all right? Whatever it might be for your app, the upside is massive right now because you've already done the hard part, which is getting downloads for your end users for your app, okay? You just need to figure out what's blocking them from paying. So if you're getting downloads but can't turn them into revenue, click the link below and watch my free training to learn how to monetize your app properly. See how specifically we are describing and calling out the situation that that type of customer is essentially going through, right? That's how you attract high quality leads and the type of customer that you want to attract for your offer, okay? By describing their specific situation, okay? Again, messaging has become the new targeting. If your words, okay, say stuff like, okay, so you're already getting a few thousand installs every month, your SaaS product is working, but you're struggling to convert them into paid users, all right, into being paid users, Facebook is gonna take your words, okay, and put them in front of the right type of person that might convert from looking or hearing these words, okay? Facebook has thousands and millions of data points about every single person on earth, or everybody who's using Meta, which is literally almost everybody. So they have all these data points about every single person who is using their services, right? Which means they know exactly what type of person they are. They know if somebody has an app and is struggling to grow it or is struggling to convert free users into paid customers. They know that, okay? So they're gonna try and use your words that you're using in your ads and put them in front of that type of person that might convert from them, okay? That's how it works, all right? That's how it works. You have to understand your ICP situation and explain it specifically, all right? And while you're doing that, you also have to use the vocabulary that your target avatar uses, right? So let's say, for example, for this case right here, okay, 1,000 installs, app, converting, okay, paid subscribers, validating the idea, marketing, downloads, monetization, turning free downloads into revenue, paywall, pricing, free trial, revenue, paywall, pricing. So this stuff right here, monetization, monetize your app. This stuff right here, the vocabulary that we use is exactly targeted towards SaaS owners because they use these exact words, okay? Let's look at, for example, real estate syndications, okay? They don't say, do you have money to invest? Or if you're a person who has a few $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars to invest, no, they say accredited investors. Or they don't really say money. They say capital, idle capital to invest, whatever it might be, right? Or for a trading education offer, they use words like unprofitable, break even, swing trading, shorting stocks, right? Women's trading, the Shelby Sepp, look harder, men, you don't want men telling you what to do, Pilates, dream life, all of these words right here. You want to use the vocabulary or the words that your target avatar uses to attract them, okay? See how all of this plays together, okay? You have to use the vocabulary that your character or target avatar uses, right? You have to target the right type of customer through your messaging, okay? The awareness levels, right? You have to have the right background or environment or scene. You have to have the right visuals. You have to have the right tonality. All of this plays into the bigger picture, which is all of that stuff that is gonna attract the right type of customer that you wanna attract, okay? If the environment is off, okay? So let's say there is like a 55-year-old dude, okay, sitting in a, whatever it might be, like in a boat, okay? In a small fisher's boat, and he's trying to attract young women who wanna get into sales. It's gonna be difficult, right? Whereas if you look at Shelby Sepp, again, how much more likely is it that this type of person is actually gonna attract young women who are ambitious or whatever?
And have a fat
Right? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, same as with the trading guy. It makes more sense if he is sitting in an environment like this right here with the charts in the background and all of these numbers right here. This just looks, it screams trading, right? He looks trustworthy because he has all of this stuff that adds proof, and like the visuals here add proof, okay? And then on top of the visuals, we obviously also combine that with the copy and the words that we use actually in the ad scripts. For example, describing the exact situation, using the exact vocabulary or the exact words that our target avatar uses to essentially get in front of our right type of customer and also being able to convert them, all right? That's how you essentially attract higher quality people, right? Through messaging and copyright, through messaging and environment and character. Now, the last thing that I have here for the front end is the pixel conditioning. I'm just gonna rush through this because it's pretty simple to understand. Meta is tracking the type of customer that is going through your funnel and taking key actions. And then whenever the pixel fires, whenever they essentially take that key action, Meta's gonna track that and try to essentially attract more people that are like that person who just took a key action. You're essentially giving Facebook data, okay, or Meta, you're giving it data and telling it, okay, this is the type of customer or the type of target avatar that I want to attract into my funnel. Give me more of those, okay? Now, what you have to do in order to make this work is you have to condition it the right way, okay? You don't want to condition it to essentially attract unqualified leads, So you have to have a filtering process. How do you do that? Essentially, there are tons of videos on that on the internet. Okay, I don't have to show you that, just search for a tutorial. But a pixel is essentially a code snippet, okay? And you take that code and put it on one of your websites, okay? And as an example, and whenever somebody gets on their website, the pixel or the code fires, okay? Here's a hack on how you can essentially do that to only attract high quality leads or only report back high quality leads, okay? So you essentially put that pixel on the thank you page after somebody books a call, okay? And you only allow people who are highly qualified to book a call. So let's say you have a type form or a survey and you have logic in that survey. So let's say somebody is unqualified based on the answers that they give you in the survey, okay, automatically. You don't send them to the page where the pixel is, because that would mean you're essentially reporting back low quality leads to the pixel, which means you're going to get more low quality leads. You don't want to do that. You send them to a separate page where there is no pixel, all right? But let's say they go through a survey and they are qualified, okay, based on the answers that they gave you. Then they get to the thank you page, which has the pixel on it, okay? Which means the highly qualified leads, they get reported back to the pixel. And this works for any type of funnel. So let's say you're running a webinar funnel, all right? Don't put the pixel on the opt-in page, okay? Whenever somebody hits an opt-in page, put it on the confirmation page, okay? Or for example, if you have an OTO, an upsell, or like a low ticket offer that they can buy before getting on the webinar, then put a separate code of pixel on that confirmation page after somebody buys that OTO, okay? So you report even higher quality people essentially back to the pixel, all right? Or in this case, this was a VSL call funnel, so a video sales letter call funnel. We sent them from the meta ads to a video with a type form survey essentially, and then they apply and book a call. That was the example that I just explained, okay? These are the three main things. If you fix that, there is no way you're gonna attract unqualified people, okay? Fix your pixel conditioning so you get more, like first of all, fix your environment and the character, okay? So your visuals are aligned with your offer, all right? And then also fix your copy and the messaging. Start by targeting solution-aware people, then going after problem-aware people, right? And use a vocabulary that your target avatar uses, and then specifically describe certain essentially scenarios or certain types of prospects that you have in these specific buckets. Again, I'm going to make a separate video on how to script out Andromeda ads, but as you can see right here, specifically describe a single type of customer or a single type of prospect that you're trying to target, and you're going to get it put in front of them. And then lastly, condition your pixel the right way to not only attract high quality leads through this right here, but also get more of them and report it back to the pixel so you get more of those leads. All right, that's essentially the front end. Now the back end, okay, which is also very important. This is, for example, when the sales team says, yo, the leads are all unqualified, okay, which is wrong. Okay, they are not unqualified. What they might be is they might be too early in the sales cycle. All right, they still need more education. All right, they still need to be nurtured more before they actually take an action and buy. All right, and how can you do that? How can you actually give them that needed information to essentially buy? Okay, so that your salespeople say, okay, the lead was actually qualified. You do that by giving them more information through many different pre-call systems. All right, this is how you fix your back end to essentially attract those high quality leads, but also nurture them before they hop on the call so your sales team has an easy job to close them. Okay, so again, if you look at this right here, this is all where it comes from, interest levels. Okay, so let's say somebody just booked a call. Okay, so what you have to understand is they're only going to buy. Okay, they're only going to buy when they're convicted, which is the money line right here, okay? This is the interest level of them being convicted. But by the time of them booking a call, even though they are high quality leads that might convert to your offer, they don't have this interest level right here yet, okay? They might have a general level of curiosity or maybe an active interest, right? But they're not convicted yet. They're not sold yet. So your job between the time of them booking a call, okay, and the call actually happening is to increase this interest level as much as possible before they hop on the call, so your closers have an easy job to close them. Okay, we call this the education window. You usually have about 3 days to do this. Okay, and the way you do this is through pre-call systems. I just explained that in my last video with the show rates. I'm gonna link it here. You can check it out. There's in that video I go in depth about all of this stuff. But just to show you, for example, you have to have a pre-framing thank you page. You have to have multiple long-form emails. You have to have SDRs reaching out to the leads. Okay, you have to have retargeting ads after somebody books a call to essentially make them more probable to show up for the call, but also close. You need to have, for example, a YouTube channel that acts as a lead nurture, okay? So all of this stuff combined is going to make sure that your leads not only book a call, okay, but also get to the calls educated enough to make a decision on the first sales call. This is going to help you have higher show rates and also higher close rates. Again, watch my last video. That's where I go in depth with this. I'm going to have it as the first link in the YouTube description of this video. But yeah, this is essentially how you do it, okay? You have all of these main pillars right here that you have to nail in your front end messaging, right? And then you need to have have a clear backend that essentially makes sure that your leads are nurtured by the time they hop on the call, so your sales team has an easy job of closing them. That's how we've made multiple six figures in high ticket sales. This is easily how you're going to fix lead quality. So yeah, I've never done this, but like and subscribe if you want to see more. But yeah, I'm going to post more videos over the next coming days because I want to build out this YouTube channel even further. Again, we've done multiple six figures in high ticket sales where I'm going to share everything I know to build up this channel. Okay, I'm not going to hold anything back. All right, I'm going to give you everything that I know essentially to help you sell more high ticket products and services. So subscribe, like, and I see you in the next video.